Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. This is a paid request, this time for Shawn. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos or topics, reactions, commentaries, reviews, re-reviews, what have you, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. It could be for pretty much any type of video. It could be a tier list, topic, like I said, reaction, commentary, re-review, review, whatever. Now, Shawn, which it just makes sense because we're in the summer, so a commentary on Jaws, the classic. And I'm just getting this fired up and pause at the right spot. Okay, I'm at the beginning. Actually, I want to make sure I did it. Yeah. Alright. 3, 2, 1, pressing play. We got the old Universal logo popping up. Again for syncing. And it's going to fade out about now. And then we have the water. It's black, it's black. The darkest eyes, the devil's eyes, it's black. Zanet Brown production. Of course, you have the great John Williams score. What more can be said about this score that has been said? It's one of John Williams' best scores. You have the trio there that really helps this film bring up a lot of notches. Roy Scheider, Richard Dreyfuss, Robert Shaw. Their camaraderie, their chemistry really sells the whole second half of this film. Lorraine Gary be the star of Jaws: The Revenge. Murray Hamilton would come back for Jaws 2. Carl Gottlieb, I think he helped do some writing on some of these films, because John Williams would go on to be doing the composing for Star Wars, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Now this is actually kind of a, I don't know what's the right word to use. Not a callback, but oh yeah, there you go. Carl Gottlieb worked on screenplay with Peter Benchley, which is based on his novel. Which Peter Benchley also had novels like The Beast and other stuff. None of them were as successful compared to the success of Jaws. And Steven Spielberg, very young in his career, he had done films like Duel, which is a great little movie. And after this, he had Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and plenty more successes. Jurassic Park. I was saying that brings back memories. That's the best phrase to use. Of me working at the video store. I worked at a video store for about, I would say, 5 or so years. But sadly, like a lot of video stores, it went out of business. Just how it goes. Just sadly, just with streaming, Netflix, all that stuff just went out of business. So what happened was, when you're in the store, either you play the advertisements or you could play a movie, but it had to be a movie that was rated PG or lower. And pretty much, the boss was easygoing. It's a guy named Galen. Very easygoing guy. And because they wanted to have as little staff as possible, for the most part, unless it was a Saturday night, you were by yourself at night. Now, at the start of the job, it got very, very busy and very hectic, but you could tell in the dying days, business got a lot slower, got a bit more emptier, and like the last couple months, I mean, there'd be maybe 5, 10 customers that come in your whole shift. That's when things were up. But, I mean, those were the days that were fine because you get your job done and then you pretty much just can relax and I would always make sure to have a PG movie, and this was the movie I would choose. I would always put this movie in. I would skip the opening because it's a half-naked lady, although you don't see anything, and screaming. I'm like, okay, I'll skip the opening, even though it's a classic opening, but I'll just skip it just in case anyone comes in. They just hear random, ah, and then there's a naked lady. Again, you don't see anything. And of course, it's such a opening, classic opening. Blood curdling scream. You really buy hook, line, and sinker. Here's this guy laying passed out as fuck, like a lot of guys would be. And this Blu-ray does have a really good documentary. The Shark is Still Working, which goes into very much details about the making of the film. Which I remember when I first heard that documentary was coming out, that was going to be a lot longer of a documentary, and it was going to talk about the sequels and other stuff as well. It was going to talk about maybe like some of the fan conventions and stuff, but also going to Jaws 2, Jaws 3, Jaws 4. And then I don't know if that was all filmed and it was cut out and we haven't seen it to this day. I don't know if that was stuff that was filmed and you thought it was going to be in other releases of the sequels. It wasn't. I don't know what the deal was. But you have the introduction of Roy Scheider as Chief Brody. Big fan of Roy Scheider. May he rest in peace. Fantastic actor. Loved him in Blue Thunder. He even played, he was the dad in The Punisher from 2004. Oh gosh, let's see. He was in films like Still the Night and 52 Pickup. Then yeah, not too far from the car. At times when I try to think of like that type of accent, I always go back to this scene. That's what I think of when I say, why is he saying like the car and the fa? It's always that scene I'm mimicking or trying to mimic. When it's like, well, we gotta try to sound more like the locals. Not too far from the car. How's that? So it's always this that I'm trying to mimic. But it's this nice setup of the characters. They're still new to this town. They haven't been there for a while, so they have a little bit of an outsider mentality, but they're not too fresh off the boat as well. This is a guy that probably worked the city streets and want a bit more relaxation and calm, and this seemed like the right fit for him and his family. This sleepy little town, Amity. A guy who doesn't even like the water. And you know what? I never read the novel. I do know there's differences. Like in the novel, apparently in the novel, Richard Dreyfuss's character and Lorraine Gary's character slept with each other, and like there's this whole business that really wasn't needed. Like that shit wasn't needed. I forget what else was in the novel. I think Richard Dreyfuss's character got killed as well. I can't remember. But during the video store, I would always watch this as well. Not just because you have to pick PG or lower, but it was just an infinitely rewatchable film. I could watch this anytime and not get bored with it because Steven Spielberg's direction is on point. It was actually a great asset to not see the shark as much, so to find more interesting, creative ways to showcase. Like that girl's death scene, you're able to see her death without seeing the shark at all. There's her remains. Which I think there's actually a deleted scene where you saw even more of her remains. It was a bit more, I don't know about bloodier, but it was a little bit more grisly. Like you saw a little bit more of the remains. I might have seen her face or something like that. But yeah, it's just infinitely rewatchable because the way the characters interact with each other. Roy Scheider just has this very likable persona of this guy that's trying to do the best he can, loves his family, cares about his job, cares about the people. He's a little bit out of his element, so there's a little bit of vulnerability to it. And at the end, even though technically he'd be the less capable of the job on that boat, he's the one that is the last guy standing and blows up the shark. So again, I think there's another deleted scenes, something about having to deal with someone arguing about someone's going around smashing, was it mailboxes or something? It wasn't anything that was, needed. When I looked at the deleted stuff, it didn't really say like anything that was needed. Oh, I wish that was back in. In such a small town, everybody's just trying to get to the sheriff and all these little details. Oh, look what these little kids did here, blah, blah, blah. And with these films, at least, I think the first two I saw over and over again was Jaws 1 and Jaws 3. And this guy here, like, he does a pretty good job, who's like the deputy. But I felt like in the sequel, I don't know if he was just trying to, if his acting diminished or if he was trying to push it a little bit further in his performance, but I forget this actor's name. I'm bad with names, but this actor didn't seem as good in the second film as he was in the first. In this first, he seemed much more natural. And of course, the other guy who came out was Murray Hamilton, which Jaws 2 might have been his last or one of his last films. But yeah, I think this one and Jaws 3 I saw for the first time. I know Jaws 3 was on CBS, I want to say. It was just something like that. It was just edited. Actually worked out better because it took a lot of the bad 3D effects. So in a way it was kind of a better edit of the film. But yeah, oh yeah, and the other guy with the to the right of Murray Hamilton, the one with the red tie, that's I believe Carl Gottlieb, who helped write the film. And Murray Hamilton just really did a great job. Now, anytime you think of this type of character, I mean, think about how many times have we seen this type of character? The guy that doesn't want the beaches shut down, and we could get through this. We need the money. We need the advertisement. We need the publicity. And in a lot of those movies, you absolutely hate and despise that guy, and you want him to get killed. But Murray Hamilton just gives a lot of charm to his character that even though it's a bit Stevie, maybe because, like, deep down, he had the town's best interest and you, in a way, believe it. You yell Barracuda. People go, huh? What? You yell shark. We got a panic on our hands on the 4th of July. And even, I think also because they added these touches where you, after the big attack, Murray Hamilton is sad and he's apologetic and he's kind of downtrodden. It just does whatever Roy Scheider wants. And then in the sequel, he's the only one that doesn't kick Roy Scheider out and get him fired. He's the only one that rose his hand and stood up a bit. And Sally's not in the film longer in Jaws 2. I think that was a time when his wife was sick, passing away, and they kind of filmed him out and he left. This seemed like Spielberg's kind of challenge. You know, what are the two things you're not supposed to kill? A kid and a pet, especially a dog, daughter or cat. So I'm going to do both. You know, we have the first victim, and the next two victims is a dog and a little kid. He's like, I ain't fucking around. I'm sure, like, a lot of these guys, Ridley Scott, Steven Spielberg, they were influenced by Texas Chainsaw Massacre and just how intense that was, and wanted to have their horror film be scary. I always feel bad for Roy Scheider's character just having to deal with all these little stupid fucking problems, and people just go up and fucking bother him all the time while leave him the fuck alone. Everyone's got like, I got this, I got this, I got this. It's like, I just want to relax on the beach, leave me the fuck alone. But he has no other cops, no other, except this one deputy, no other people to help. Of course, you don't like the water, do you? It's a bad hat, Harry. And I believe that's I forget who's. There's a film company called Bad Hat Harry. I can't remember if it was Brian Singer or J.J. Abrams, one of those two. Bad Hat Harry Productions. I think they hand in working on, might have been Brian Singer, working on, like House MD, that TV show. You guys remember that? It's a Bad Hat Harry, but like at the end of almost every episode, after the credits. I believe so. I could be wrong. See, there's the dog gone, and now it's the kids. Like, you're not supposed to kill animals and kids, and Spielberg's like, fuck that. I'm going to show you. And this really became the big first blockbuster. Because, and again, the shark's not working. It's broken as shit, so they showed enough to still get the PG rating. There's that, I forget what move that is, where you get closer, but some things are still far. I forget what that visual look is. That's used in a lot of movies where you're pushing forward but some things still go back. I forget what that technique is. But of course, you know, the whole story of the shark is never wanted to work, rarely worked at all, and so that's why a lot of this is you don't see the shark, which makes it fine with me, because when I do see the shark, I actually like the look of it. People make fun of it. I think it looks pretty cool to this day. But you don't need, like, you get the enough of what you need to catch and kill the shark. $3,000. We don't know if there's a shark around here. What the fuck do you think did it? A fucking eel? An octopus? A fucking watery, early, you know, prepubescent, pre-born Jeffrey Dahmer? Who the fuck do you think did that? But yeah, I was saying that this became one of the first big blockbusters where it made so much money, and then there's advertisement, there's all this other stuff that other studios looked to this and said, "Man, we want that. We want those big event summer movies." And then you saw a bit more prevalent after that. Star Wars and Indiana Jones and but anyway, this almost the birth of that summer blockbuster. I'm trying to remember if there's more of this scene and it was cut out. God, that guy on the far left looks like the Mr. Clean. On the far left with the white shirt, I watch on the widescreen. I don't know if it cuts back, but it looks like Mr. Clean or Mr. Clean's dad, because that guy has like gray hair, but Mr. Clean's grandpa. Yeah, that guy back there, like on the left, is like Mr. Clean's dad. Now I'm just staring at him. I can't. Each time it comes back, I just keep staring at that. Yeah, that guy there. Now I just can't take my fucking eyes off him. Mr. Clean's dad. Ah, here we get Robert Shaw as Quint. Which, I mean, how many people have tried to mimic and copy and rip off this type of performance? And Robert Shaw just made it work so well. And the salty captain ready to hunt the shark. And Robert Shaw, I mean, he did a lot of films. This is kind of getting to the end of his career, honestly. I forget, what was that film he did with Harrison Ford? That might have been after this. Or it might have been before this. I can't remember what year that came out, but definitely my favorite Robert Shaw performance. Because he's a character, but I didn't feel he went too over the top. There's a certain reality to what he's talking about. For that, you get the head, the tail, the whole damn thing. And it's because you get a good actor, very competent director. He's able to make. He's still a character and the accents but it's not a parody. It's not goofy. There's a certain believability to the character. And on top of that, like, who is that guy behind them? Like, who follows them with the orange cap? Because I don't know if he ever talks or anything. I know he doesn't join the journey at the end. But I think especially when you get later on, when you have the Quint talking about his experience when we delivered the bomb, the Hiroshima bomb. He believes in it. This is a guy that really went through that. You believe that notion. And that's what people forget when you make movies, including creature features. Yes, there could be a lot of fun creature features that the characters are kind of meh, or kind of alright, or even less than tolerable. There's always exceptions to every damn thing. But the best ones are the ones that are going to make it, the ones that are going to be remembered, I should say. To sadly, Tremors bombed when it came out, but it's highly remembered and high regards. And not just to people who are high, but just to anybody and everybody. I don't blame it. I want him to get out of the fucking boat too. I do like this bit with Roy Scheider. Is like, he calms down. He's like, don't say that. I don't want that to happen. It gives a bit of humanity, humility, and then the mom sees this. Is like, and I don't even remember when I saw this. This was in full screen, so the way that's edited was differently because of the full. People forget back to the day when you had like full screen, widescreen, or pan and stand. I think that's the proper term actually. Pan and stand. The reason it's called pan and stand is I, there's a bit where like that scene that happened when I first saw this. You just saw Lorraine Gary when she's yelling, and then boom, it goes to Roy Scheider and his reaction because they couldn't fit them all on the screen because it wasn't widescreen. Listen, you look at those Pandenstein versions of these films back to the day, you get a little bit of a different experience. Not mind blowing, but just a little bit different, a little bit unique. John Williams' score just worked so well with this. I know Spielberg came out and said he apologized for making the film because of the bad reputation it gave the sharks. It's a fucking film, dude, and it's not like sharks were beloved before that. Give me a fucking break. And it's up to people themselves. Listen, I would not want anyone to go out and hunt them. There's no fucking reason to. Especially if they're, if the number is dwindling. If they're in the ocean, that's fine. I'm not in the ocean, so they leave me the fuck alone. I leave them the fuck alone. By the way, I know these two guys originally were going to be played by two different people. I think one of them was going to be played by Joe Spinell, who was in Maniac, 1980 film. But I don't know why that never came to be. I don't know why Joe Spinell never did it. He was friendly with Spielberg, because after, you can find on YouTube, when the film came out, there was the Oscar nominations. And they were being announced, and Spielberg did not get his name announced. And there was Joe Spinell with the Jaws t-shirt. It's like, who directed the picture, huh? Did this guy direct the picture? The picture that got a Best Picture nomination? Who directed the picture? Just stick it up for Spielberg. So obviously they're on friendly terms, but yeah, I don't know why. It seemed like Joe Spinell and someone else was up for this, but they didn't. I don't know why. I don't know if it was time or what the deal. And also, like any other film, these two guys would have just been killed and give more body count. But they made it, and yeah, that funny, can we go home now? Now this guy here with the pipe, I think he had more dialogue in the original, in the deleted footage. I think so. I could be wrong on that. And I'm trying to remember if it was that guy with the pipe or someone else that we find his head later. Richard Dreyfuss finds his head, and it pops into view. Speaking of Richard Dreyfuss, love this character as well as Hooper. That's the thing, you have just great characters. And that's what I was saying before, is that great characters can help in creature feature films. Because the creature's not going to be on screen all the time. Now, having a great creature, effects-wise or design-wise, helps a lot as well. But when it's not on screen, you gotta have the film work. Tremors does. Even Deep Rising. I like Tree Williams and Kevin J. O'Connor, and I like those characters. These characters are great. I love, rest in peace to Tom Sizemore. Loved his character in The Relic and how superstitious he was. And here, like, Richard Dreyfuss is doing what he's told. And I love the line he says here. They're all gonna die. Again, I think there was some longer bits here, but I'm glad it was cut out. Because, like I said, the deleted scenes felt they were deleted for a reason. But I think there was a bit longer. I think Dreyfuss had a bit more interaction with people. And this is a film, that's 2 hours and goes by quick. And Richard Dreyfuss, I mean, he would go on to be in Close Encounters of the Third Kind with Spielberg. What About Bob? Mr. Holland's Opus. Stakeout, which I'm a big fan of. That still doesn't have a damn Blu-ray in the U.S. I don't know what the deal is. Why can we not have Stakeout on Blu-ray? Oh, because... what is that, Touchstone? So that's Disney? Well, that answered my question. Fuck Disney. I technically do have Stakeout, just not officially. But I do have it. Even some of these other supporting, like this guy here, I just like his acts, his demeanor, the way he says his dialogue. Just these fucking yokels. Like, they're in the same fucking spot. They're ready to run the fuck over each other. They're fucking ready to blow each other up. Like, wouldn't you want to, like, get far away from them instead of being in the same fucking spot? But whatever. And Richard Dreyfuss nowadays, I mean, you never... Let's see, the last film I saw him in... I know he was in Piranha 3D. And he plays... It's supposed to be a character like this, it's supposed to be an homage to it, and then he just killed at the beginning. I think he's done a thing or two after it, but I didn't see it. I can't remember the name. I know he's very much against the whole woke shit going on nowadays. He's been very vocal on that, which has been pretty funny to hear. You tell Richard Dreyfuss just don't give a fuck. But sadly, of the three trio, I mean, he's the only one left. Roy Scheider passed away. And Robert Shaw passed away. This was not a boating accident. It was a shark. It wasn't Jack the Ripper. It wasn't that shark. It's a tiger shark. A what? I just mean, like, even these little, like, these characters are not in it much. They have these little moments that are memorable. Maybe because it's just one of those films that me and others that just watched over and over and over and over again. But yeah, come on, we know this ain't the shark. He knows it's not the shark either. We're like, yeah, this is bullshit. Now, of course, with the success of this movie, there was a ton of movies trying to capitalize it, which made sense. I mean, the movie made a shitload of money, so they would want to capitalize. And you had the Nation Gone Amok movies. You had Day of the Animals. You had Grizzly, which was pretty much a remake of this, only with a bear. I do like Grizzly. But I mean, that you also had three people, and just a flat out, it's Jaws but with claws. It's literally what it is. And you had a lot of other shark movies or movies that were not really about sharks, but then they try to pump up in advertising. They try to get money from people who liked this film and hopefully to see more. Here's a guy. A what? You stuff your pretty head in there and see it's a man eater. That's the thing, like even for smaller like supporting characters, you have a bit of personality, colorful nature to them. But yeah, I mean, yeah, there were tons of rip-offs, and of course there were sequels and all sorts of stuff that wanted to capitalize. None of them got as close to this, but you had what? You had an octopus one called Tentacles. You had Orca, the killer whale, which is another film I do like, and like I said, a ton of other inspirations and rip-offs and stuff. Like I said, I really like Grizzly. I like Orca. Tentacles, I don't remember. And there's a lot of bad ones as well. And then I mean, there's tons of killer shark movies made to this day, and very few are worth a crap. I mean, Jaws is my favorite. Deep Blue Sea is number two, my second favorite. I love Deep Blue Sea. Thomas Jane, Samuel L. Jackson, LL Cool J. I think that's a lot of fun. Rennie Harlan thought did a great job directing it. Now I thought this was unfair for her because it's not his fault, but he gets to blame for it. He gets slapped for it. And she's like, you knew it. You knew there was a shark out there. And it's like, yeah, he fucking told that asshole slap the mayor. He fucking told that asshole mayor, and the mayor's like, yeah, keep it open. You yell Barracuda. Huh? Huh? What? You yell shark. We're a pair of 4th of July. And then that fucking coroner lied and said, well, actually, I didn't say it was a shark. So he's taking the blame. He's getting the shit up the creek. And it's these motherfuckers behind him that this did it. Go slap the mayor. He fucking deserves it. And the mayor doesn't pipe up, you chicken shit. Mayor didn't do shit. But what it does is it makes the viewer feel more sorry for Roy Scheider's character. Because we, the audience, know he didn't deserve that. And like the hero, he takes the blame for it. Yeah, it's your fault, Murray Hamilton. It's your fucking fault. It's your fault. And I think Richard Dreyfuss knows he got he got fucked over as well. So yeah, that's what I mean. Like the way it is written and is directed is like I could tell from that. Like Dreyfuss's look, he's like, this guy didn't deserve that. In fact, this is probably the only guy I could talk to on this island. This is the only guy that's sensible. I think he even says that when he gets here. It's like, you didn't deserve that. He probably thought what I thought. Slap Murray Hamilton. Now, of course, this would be later shown in Jaws 4. With her remembering this. Because that kid, that character is the one that got killed at the beginning of Jaws 4. Which, fuck Jaws 4. Jaws 2 I don't mind. I don't love it as much as I used to. I think Roy Scheider does a great job. He's the MVP of it. I like the shark getting burnt up and looking like Freddy Krueger, and you have to electrocute it. But there's just too many scenes of people just sailing. A lot of the teenage characters are kind of meh or forgettable, and not nearly enough of a body count. And I don't know, just Jaws 3, I do feel is a better sequel. I think that's more fun. I think Dennis Quaid and Beth Armstrong are a lot stronger as the leads. Well, no, that's not true. Roy Scheider's great as the lead, but he has no one else with him. But in Jaws 3, you have Beth Armstrong, Louis Gossett Jr., and Dennis Quaid. I even like the guy who plays Dennis Quaid's brother, because Dennis Quaid and the brother are supposed to be these two kids in this movie. I like Jaws 3. I know it's made from cocaine, but cocaine's a hell of a drug, and it's the 80s drug of choice, so more cocaine, please. And Jaws 4 is a piece of shit. So, like I said, I like Jaws 3. To me, it's the creepiest shark death scene, which I'll get to, because I think he says the line here, "How was your day?" See, right then there, they both have they're together in this. But yeah, Jaws 3, like the scene where the guy's stuck in the mouth and he gets, not bitten, but he gets pulverized and crushed. That just... the way that was filmed and the idea, the fact you're not even bitten, it's just, you're literally just squished to death inside the mouth and you're stuck there. As if you need, just the insulting embarrassment of not only being, you don't even get the honor of being eaten. It's just, you just squished. Just something about that just creeped me out. I don't know what it was. Ever since I was a kid. And it does have some bad 3D effects. Again, when I saw the 2D version. It was on cable, on CBS, not cable, CBS. And I think if you took that film and someone went in, I actually have a fan cut of Jaws 3, which has someone did some improvement on some of the effects, and that's the cut I watch now. He's like, nah, we're gonna just get it all down. Of course, he's gonna get the most out. He's gonna get the whole fucking thing. I think this is you'll be the only rational man left on this island after I leave tomorrow. Is there a clerical name? Drowning. I think in a film, if this was a film made today, God forbid if there was ever a remake of this. You never know. I mean, they remade every other damn thing. They would have some kind of strife between the husband and wife where there'd be arguments and fighting or tension because that will, quote, make the characters more interesting, so we have to have that. Well, they didn't have to do that trope, and this still made the characters interesting. So you don't always have to do that trope. I can do anything. I'm the chief of police. And yeah, fuck Jaws. for. I was thinking of other shark films. Like I like Jaws. My number one. My number two is Deep Blue Sea. What else would be like a top 10? I mean, there's a lot of bad shark films. Like, we all know this. But Jaws 3 I liked enough. It would be in my top 10 of shark films. That might not be a high order, but again, I always liked the movie. I even did a video with Uncle Bill from Dead Pit on their channel where we talked about Jaws 3. I'm trying to remember The Shallows. That's a really good one. I would put that up there. So yeah, there is nothing in there. So this is not the shark. This is not the sharks you're looking for. We get to hear I gotta go find him on the land. I'm not drunk enough. Yes, you can. I can't do that. Yes, you can. I'm not drunk enough to be on the water. Another piece, I mean, of course, John Williams, the main theme and all that is great, but other pieces of score, the whole finale, the chasing after the shark, even at the very end with that sweet da, 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 na, 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 na. That's a wonderful piece of music. Even here where you have this sort of more subtle music, kind of foreboding when I think they heard something. And if you wonder what I'm doing, I'm trying to look up shark movie. Killer shark films. And that's a nice subtle thing to have him have the life preserver, which makes sense because he's a guy who's afraid of the water, doesn't like the water, so he would be the guy. While the guy is much more comfortable, he has no need for preserve. Yeah, so this came out in 1975, and you had Shark's Treasure, and they really marketed up the shark aspect of that because of the success of Jaws. Mako, the Jaws of Death. The Last Shark, I almost forgot about that movie. The Last Shark was also known as Great White. And if you watch that trailer, you type up Great White. This is The Last Shark 1981. But you look up like Great White 1980. It's the same movie. And I think it stars James Franciscus, who was in the second Planet of the Apes movie. What happened was they had the trailer, and they had the same narrator that narrated Jaws, Percy Rodriguez, who's a fantastic narrator of trailers, one of the best. He did a lot of movie trailers. He did the trailers for Mutant from 1984, Chud. You watch a lot of those trailers, you have the same voiceover guy. He did the trailer for Jaws. He also did the trailer for Great White. And Universal thought Great White was so much of a ripoff of Jaws that they stopped the movie from being released and said you cannot release that in the U.S. And it got released in other territories and finally got out for people to see, but it was banned in the U.S. because they felt it was too much of a ripoff of Jaws. So, it was an okay movie. I didn't hate that film. Like Jaws 3, I don't think it's a 3.7 out of 10 on IMDb. I just don't. The dolphins themselves are better than some of the actors in fucking movies nowadays. I just don't. We have Creature, based on another Peter Benchley novel. That's one where T. Nelson, Kim Cattrall. That's a film that I don't think needed to be a two-part, 240-minute miniseries. It could. I don't think there's enough story there to have that long of a movie. Deep Blue Sea is better than a 5.9. Come on now, man. And Jaws has an 8.1. Makes sense. But yeah, you got like Shark Attack 1, 2, and 3. Shark Attack 3 has one of the goofiest lines. How about I take you home and eat your pussy? Shark Attack 3 is one of those could be so bad as good because you look up clips, you'll know what I mean. It is a bad movie. Red Water I don't mind with Lou Diamond Phillips, but that's because I'm a big Lou Diamond Phillips fan. I think it's hindered that because it was a TV movie, so the budget wasn't quite. Oh yeah, I think they added in this jump scare. And from what I understand, some of this was filmed, I want to say, in a swimming pool? Or no, they had the jump scare, but it didn't quite do it right, so they redid it to try to get people to go, oh shit. Something like that. I can't remember the exact details. But man, you've had like Dark Waters, 12 Days of Terror, Raging Sharks, Sharkman, known as Hammerhead, The Reef, Dino Shark, Shark Night, Swamp Shark. Baton is this Australian one. I didn't mind that one. I think it's an Australian one. It takes place in a place gets flooded, and in particular the store. And these people are trapped in the store, and there's a couple sharks in there, and they have to survive. Like I said, The Shallows is definitely one of the better ones. So there's not a lot of great shark films. Part of it's like, well, they did it so well in this one, it's kind of hard to top it. When lightning struck perfectly the first time, except no substitutes, I guess. The Maid I was not a fan of. Well, that's funny. There's a top 10 killer shark films, and USA Today put Jaws 3 as number 10. The film is an obvious ploy to freak people out with 3D technology, yet you can't argue Louis Goss Jr. and Dennis Quaid doing what they can to keep it watchable. Yeah. Bait. Out of nowhere, tsunami floods a grocery store and leaves a pack of survivors trying to find their way out and avoid the deadly gray white. They're swimming through the aisles. Like I said, I remember not minding that one. Like Jaws 2 I do like. I don't hate it. So I just would put that in the top 10 as well. See, The Reef. I remember not hating it. The Shallows I did like. Wow. Jaws. Deep Blue Sea. The Shallows. Jaws 2. Bait. Jaws 3D. Wow, a lot of them would be in my top 10. I disagree with The Maid. I don't like The Maid. I think The Maid sucks. I hate it even more after knowing about the ideas that were in the novel, because I listened to it on tape, because it was actually a request. And let's see, is that review still up? Let me go to my channel. Type in The Maid. But yeah, this is, I love Richard Dreyfuss's laugh here. He just can't help it. Like, what more can you do? What fucking more can you do? It's hard to find it on the phone. Like, on the computer. Like, you could go to the About on your YouTube on the right. It's a lot harder on here. So I type in The Maid. My username in The Maid. I know, not made from fucking Family Guy. Yeah, the audiobook by Steve Alton. You see. Oh, from Ghostface 320. Well, hope you're doing well, sir. Haven't heard from him in a while. I don't know if you ever see this, but hey, Ghostface, hope you're doing well, man. Same with Mr. Rogers. It's funny, you sometimes look at YouTube, you see certain names, you know, what happened to the... Like, Splitson 91. Like, yeah, Splitson 91, Ghostface 320, you know, Mr. Rogers. Maybe he's in his neighborhood enjoying that. Yeah, I hope they're doing well. I don't know if you see this, but I hope you guys are doing well. But anyway. What will you do for a Tit Tat bar? What can I say? I'll kill a shark. Which actually, that arcade game popped up quite a few times in this video game I played called Daymare. Which is weird because Daymare 1998 is trying to be like 90s, but it's referencing Jaws, which is from the 70s. But there's an arcade thing and it did that, so. Yeah, I thought that was kind of weird. There's Peter Benchley himself. The author himself, Peter Benchley. There you go. And this is where the shit's gonna hit the fan. Hit the fan, so to speak. You should not have done this. You fucked up, Murray Hamilton. God, and there's pressure in this guy. Why aren't you in the water? I just put some lotion on. Why don't you go in the fucking water then? You're so goddamn adamant about it. Take off your fucking shirt and your pants and you go in the goddamn water. I'd be like, fuck you. I got my kids. I ain't going in the water. Fuck you. You get in the goddamn water. I'd be telling them, fuck you. But yeah, there's a lot of shark movies out there. I think Halle Berry was in one. And I said there's been similar movies. It's hard to get it right. It's not as easy as people think because there's so many that got it wrong, but it's not easy. It's not a shark movie, but one that was really good was Crawl. From Alexander Aja directed Crawl. Well, that's a really good movie. Has Barry Pepper in it. That was a nice surprise. Yes, I know that it was for your old, but do it for your old man, okay? All right. Fuck off, little kid. Leave us the fuck alone. That'd be funny if, well, not funny, but I just imagine the kid running up and one of the kids just take his leg, go, boom, Dad, fuck you, kung fu kid. Swimming, 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 swim all the fucking way to Idaho. You jamotes. Thought you saw a shadow. Fuck you and your shadow. Oh yeah, you have the group that play a trick on it. He made me do it. It was him, not me. Well, you fought to agree to it, so it's your fault too. Enjoy prison. Well, I doubt they went to prison, but I'm just saying. Ah, man, you fucked up, dude. Yeah, we're already an hour in, man. And of course, people in the background, you have to figure out what they need to do. Do you want them looked into the camera? Or not quite? Here you go. Oh yeah, because you find out these people fucked it and they're actually in the pond. God, they're tripping everyone over. It's like, fuck you. Sayonara, pal. Fuck on my way. Why does he say no whistles? I don't understand why no whistles. I think whistles would be a good thing to do, but... Sorry, answering something back. Sorry, if you're wondering, what the fuck you doing? I have to answer this guy back. Something important. And of course, it is like, oh god, no person saying a shark is going to be another fake out. Another bullshit. In the pond, though. In the pond. He said, oh shit, I gotta make a break for it. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. What are you doing? I'm doing it. Now, I think this was a bit longer as well. You saw a bit. Oh, yeah, there was a whole scene, but it didn't quite work out where this guy who gets killed here, he gets dragged. And as he getting dragged, he like carries the kid. And they're both being dragged along. And then he kind of gets left behind. That's why the scene kind of ends like right here. He just passes by. We see the POV, but it was supposed to. The guy's being dragged, and then the guy like grabs the kid or something, and the boat being dragged, and the kid's trying to get out of it, and then I guess like the guy lets go, and then he's. That was more why he was so freaked out and out of it. Because the way it's shown here was the shark goes by him, and you see that he's kind of staring. Then all of a sudden he's knocked the fuck out. Now they say he's in shock, but like we just saw him like this. That was scary, but the thing that really made him into shock was cut out. But that's because, again, they couldn't quite get the effect done correctly. So, I mean, it makes more sense in the deleted scene, but again, it just didn't look as good. That's why the deletion. Which, again, I can understand that. I can understand. Of course, now it's personal. Now it's absolutely fucking personal. Time to get the bastard. The fucking bastard. Is that the guy from the beginning that was pushing? Now I'm trying to think, like, the guy's pushing it. Was that the guy from the beginning? Who, maybe not. Oh, that guy looked familiar. I thought he looked kind of like the guy at the beginning of the movie. Who, the girl got killed and stuff. Maybe not. Cause I'm like, is that who I think it is? Yeah, maybe not. Now he's adamant. Now he's pissed. I need to talk to you, motherfucker. I definitely need to talk to you. You don't give him what he wants, or I'm gonna kick your ass. You motherfucker. You give him what he wants, or I'm going to kick the shit out of you. My kids were on that beach too. So, give me the money or not? Zal, you don't sign or what, Larry? Now he's determined. Got that determination. Now we get into what kind of like this. It's two movies in one. There's the build-up, and the shark attacks, and now we're going to get to the second movie. These three guys, and their trilogy of camaraderie of different perspectives. You have these two guys kind of battling out, Hooper and Quint. You have the guy that seems like the outsider, but the outsider is the one that comes up on top. And you say maybe Roy Scheider is kind of the audience point of view. But, yeah, Hooper. You're not going to do this on the boat, are you? Sorry, Dan. I'm sorry I'm doing this. I have to. This is a thing. You have to answer these messages in between. You know what? I'll be right back. This way I'm not. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. Figured I would just get it all done so I could go back to the movie. So I apologize. I'm paused at 1 hour, 9 minutes, and 23 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Pressing play. As we're getting to the boat, we had the exchange with Hooper and Quint, sort of the beginning of, quote, the dip measuring contest, so to speak, between the two of them. And then the irony is that one gets killed, one's taste gets wrecked and he has to run away, and it's the outsider that has to take care of business. You go in the water, sharks in the water. Our shark. Farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies. Farewell and adieu, you ladies of Spain. For we receive orders for it to sail back to Boston. And so nevermore shall we see you again. If I understand, in real life, there's a bit of friction between Shaw, the older actor, and Dreyfuss, this young up-and-coming actor. A bit that does show in the movie in a good way. And then you have the sort of the guy who, you know, his wife's getting him, make sure his oh, there's that guy with the orange hat, the guy that was following Quint. That was another deleted scene, is that, which I'm glad was deleted, because it's a really stupid scene where Quint goes to a store and a kid's playing like a trumpet or something, playing an instrument, I forget what it is. Maybe not a trumpet, but a flute. Playing something. And then Quint just starts singing louder and louder, more obnoxious, and freaking out the poor kid. And I'm like, what purpose does this serve? So, like I said, the stuff that was deleted, I understand perfectly. Died at the age of 103. For 15 years, she kept her virginity. Not a bad record for this vicinity. And this is the last we'll see Lorraine Gary. And here we go. Like, those teeth, in a weird way, it's kind of like as we enter it, we're entering their world. Or we're not entering exactly through it, but from here on in, it's these three guys' movie. Nobody else, just the three of them. The hunt is on. And the movie up at this point has been a really solid, good, movie on its own right. This last section clinches the deal. It truly does. You get the first look at the shark and that oh shit reaction. You got the interaction of these three guys, three distinct personalities, three wonderfully solid actors. You get some fun bits of banter. You get some nice background information, in particular Quint, their own ways of dealing with the situation. Again, there's more of this sort of back and forth with the way they crush the cans. sort of a dominance. I crush a can. I'm like, yeah, I could do that with this styrofoam cup. And of course, this is to let the audience know about these things here, which will be very important for the end. So, a bit of exposition. You pulled the wrong one. Just go around with these taints, they're going to blow up. So, and you listen to what Quint says. I don't know what that bastard's going to do with it. Might eat it, I suppose. And there's your ending. Set it up so it doesn't come too out of the blue. And I'm trying to do this knot and can't quite get it. So I'm into the hole. Comes out of the hole again. Spielberg does a nice job building up this bit where slow realization of this guy of what's going on. I don't know what he's eating. He's eating, I guess, crackers. Is that cookies? But I think, yeah, crackers. Yeah, the slow realization of what's going on, and yep, I need to get situated and ready. Sort of his excitement. I got it. As soon as he does that, then the thing ratchets up. Again, really nice, tight editing from, I forget her name. I think she won an Oscar for editing as well. These are very... got his own setup for it all. I got it! Oh, shit. Sorry, now I'm just watching the film, but the thing of it is, like, I get because the shark wasn't working for all this time, for a lot of this had to be just put to the imagination. And the thing is, though, I don't know if this could be done today. I don't know if you could do a film like this where you show so little because people are so used to seeing everything. They're so used to seeing the whole fucking world blow up, and 85 creature, the Maid 2 trailer. It's got this and this and this going on, and helicopters and all this other stuff. And it's like, could you do a film where you show so little? Would people be bored? Would people be like, oh man, nothing happened, blah 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 blah? Roy Scheider's barely hanging on to that thing. You wealthy couch boys don't have the education enough to admit when you're wrong. I love Dreyfuss's reaction. Just it just gets so pissed off, just like you motherfucker. You just it's just a very human reaction, and then just him mocking him as well, the way he talks. Ah, sir, ah. I tell you, like anytime, especially when it got to this section here, I just something about the hunt and these three, just each one have their unique look, personality, their job, and all three work. There's not one that's a weak link, and that's very rare. Just can to have a good lead helps a lot. Then to have a good duo can be even rarer. But to have like all three work on all cylinders, that's takes effort, time, talent, luck, all the above. How many times have you seen movies where there's three people and two of them are pretty good, but the third one is lackluster, or it's not that good, or could have been better, or oh, it sucks. Of course, you get to the most famous scene in the movie. I like the look of this shark. I think that still looks cool. I think that still looks neat. And the audiences back today apparently went, "Oh shit!" Of course, the most famous line: "You're gonna need a bigger boat. You're going to need a bigger boat." There you go. It is alive. And apparently this is a film that's just so hard and tumultuous to make. And Spielberg had pretty much told people never work on the water after his experience on this. But because you're on the water, everything's always rocking. It'll take forever to get in the right position if things screw up with the sun and all that. The elements in case if it rains or anything else in between that happens. If you have equipment in there, let alone the shark, if it sinks, if it just doesn't want to move, its mouth doesn't want to move, all sorts of stuff. Just take all the typical problems and quadruple them. I love this bit. Why? What for? Why are the... I need some of the foreground to give us some scale. Foreground my ass. And then like first time Dreyfuss gets pissed. Oh god damn it. Because they just feel human and natural. Like he wants to get the picture, he loves these shards, he wants to steal, and Scheider's like, fuck you, I'm not going out there, foregone my ass. And also, you tell the director he wants to keep things moving, doesn't want too much of stale shots because for the rest of the film you're in this one place, this one boat, technically this one location. You don't want the audience to seem like they're bored or mundane or they get used to it and they're just, okay, here we go, or, what now? Again, great music by John Williams is build up. Da-da, 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 da-da. Just getting more and more intense in this build up. I think when I was a kid, I was a bit confused with what the purpose of these barrels were, but of course it's to slow him down, the weight of it slow him down, make it so that he can't go as fast or as far as normally would, which, of course, with this big motherfucker, ain't gonna help matters. Ain't gonna give a shit with this big motherfucker. He's like, I don't give a fuck. And went all the way down. Great shot of him right at the end there with the background. Especially that shot with the sun coming down, going off into the sunset, I guess you would say. I love that piece of music. Ba-da-dum, ba-da-dum. It's kind of interesting that they fade out right in the middle of Roy Scheider talking, and they cut to this shot of him whistling. Makes you wonder if there's like going to be originally something more to that scene, and then you have that transition, or just the point of showcasing Quint literally just cutting off Roy Scheider's talk. No matter what he says, doesn't matter to him because Quint's going to be out here regardless. Just no matter what you say, we're not going back until we get this. And here's where they're comparing stars, which Kevin Smith would reference in Chasing Amy, only in that it was stars from Sex. Even the comparative scores they kind of did in Lethal Weapon 3, Mel Gibson, Rene Russo, but I don't think that was in reference to this. I know what Chasing Amy was. Kevin Smith even admitted. Because even in the scene, like they have a background, see that it's blue. Even the background Chasing Amy, they put blue in the, I don't know if it was the windows or whatever to make it seem like the scene in Jaws. Because I know Kevin Smith's a big fan of the movie. As are a lot of people. Which makes sense to me. It's a damn classic. In my opinion, a lot of other people's opinion. And this is what we call the bonding moment. This is definitely the moment that they, if any scene, it's this one where they bond. Get to know each other. Get to laugh and joke with each other. And then, of course, his story, the Indianapolis. It broke my heart. Ah, that's the bit here. Yeah, here we go. And this is where you get the. Just immediately Dreyfuss shuts up because he knows the story. Which makes sense if he's such a aficionado of sharks, he would know about one of the more infamous bits of this whole thing, which would be. And here you're telling the story. Now, there's always talk of like how much of this was Robert Shaw's, how much of this was in the script. I wasn't 100% sure on the details, but like this is just a scene of just him talking and telling this, but he sells the story hook, line, and sinker. He truly does. And they did eventually, I think, make a movie. I think there was a movie 1991 about the Indianapolis. There might have been another one as well, and I don't remember the. But I think there was. And I think at one point Spielberg or someone else, like they wanted to do that story instead of doing a sequel, Jaws 2. Which I can understand. In the right hands, it could be a very intense story. But on the flip side, I mean, you probably have studios nowadays look at this scene and go, could you add flashes to that? Could we see bits of that? Could there be flashbacks where we see bits and pieces of people being attacked and bitten, and not just stick with him telling it and describing it? Or in the background, can you put noises of people screaming and being killed and audio wise? But no, all you needed was this: the music, his performance, to have him. You tell he's just remembering how awful this whole moment is. Average 6 an hour. They've been bitten in half. There you go, bitten in half below the waist. And this story, I mean, not only does it kind of strengthen a bit of the bond between these three, because after hearing the story, they start seeing the like one true happiness together. But you also get to know more about Robert Shaw's character as to why he's so adamant of hunting sharks and why he's so adamant of not wanting to let this thing beat him. As he puts out, never put on a life preserver again. Here we delivered the bomb. Oh, I should also mention. I'll mention this. If you do ever find it, there's kind of a fun edit of this movie called the Sharksploitation edit of Jaws. It's a fun bit to watch, and if you can find it, Sharksploitation. Someone took this movie and they edited it into like an exploitation film. So at times, like the colors are different, and they take other movies and add in like a bit more body count during the attack scenes. There's certain deleted scenes added back into it. The ending, Roy Scheider's shooting at it, and then a whale comes and hits the shark, and they reference, "Oh, we're hearing a whale." Just the idea of trying to be an exploitation film. It's a fun edit. Doesn't replace this film one iota, one bit. It's fun to see edits like that. I'm a sucker for fan edits. Had a little drink about an hour ago, it's drawn right in my head. Wherever I may roam, on land or sea or phone. I like that one after the other is that they each realize. First, Quint realizes, then Dreyfuss, and then Roy Scheider. Like each one, like one starts singing, then the second, the third, and then just how it started, that's how it ended. First Quint started singing, then Richard Dreyfuss, then Scheider. Same with how it ended. First Quint stops, then Dreyfuss stops, then Scheider stops. It's a nice little detail. The shark just fucking with them. Just completely fucking with them. I don't know why I like that. Like, he ate the light. Of course, that's not going to do anything. That's why Hooper is saying, just don't waste your time. And I wonder if there's something more to that because you see, like him get adamant and getting this done, and then Dreyfuss, you okay? Hey Brody, you okay? And he doesn't answer, so I don't know if there's anything more to that. I mean, there is a scene where he actually a little bit where he starts shooting, but I don't know if that's just to showcase more of his fear and more of his anxiety of being in the middle of nowhere in the water, not liking the water and all this. I don't know. Maybe there's nothing deeper that I'm making it seem like. Maybe it's just hey, it's a reaction he had. I want to get the gun. I think we have about 27 minutes left in the film. Like I said, goes by quick, at least to me. Of course, they don't get by this point. They don't get more barrels in. Oh yeah, the shark comes up and rips it out of Quint's hand. That's why his hand will start bleeding. There you go. And Quinn ain't having that. I guess for him, he's just so adamant of taking this out by himself. And that's what I was saying before. You have to make the characters and their interactions interesting enough so when the creature's not around, or in this case a shark, it makes it watchable and interesting. And I love the banter between Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward in Tremors. I love the superstitious angels Tom Sizemore has in The Relic. That's what I'm talking about. Leviathan. Why do you think I love Leviathan so much? Once in a while, the creature pops up, and I think looks cool in my opinion by Stan Winston's group. But as that cast, we get Peter Weller and Ernie Hudson and Amanda Pays and Daniel Stern and all these other people, and the way they interact with each other and the music and all the other stuff put together, just like this movie. Just like this movie. You don't see it sharp much, and it didn't matter. It still worked very well. That's a nice wide shot to show the barrel and the boat at the same time. The thing is, even if you made a film similar to this nowadays, it'd be so much CGI. It'd be CGI in the background. There'd be filters. They'd go, you know what? Filter that with CGI. Put something in there. Put a little CGI in there. And it would look so slick and so cold and emotionless in terms of, again, the cinematography or the look. I don't know. Of course, this ain't going to do anything. But for him, it feels like he's accomplishing something. Two barrels going down again. The son bitch is playing with us. Think taking you guys on a wild goose chase. Why don't we leave the shark in the shore instead of him leading us out to sea? So yeah, Jaws. I could watch this it's one of those films like Aliens, like for me personally, Leviathan. That's why I put them like the top of the top. They're films I could watch anytime and never get bored with them. Predator 2, Hard Target, and just be sucked in like before, like the first time watching it. I know at times I would laugh about this. I shouldn't because he's in pain, but I think just this here, where you go up and then the fall here, boom, and it's not funny, but I think I don't know why I would laugh. I think just the way he falls is just so natural. Like nowadays, not even nowadays, but an actor would not want to, quote, be embarrassed by, oh, I don't want to just trip and fall and this and that. I gotta look cool. I gotta look, even in dire circumstances, I gotta look smooth and cool. And it's like, no. In real life, you would go over and you might trip, and, that's a natural thing to happen. That's the other display why I found it funny back in the day. I think it's just like, someone slipping on ice. Someone slipping on ice isn't funny. But say with the trip in there. Again, if someone's walking and they trip on the ice, is that fine? Because they could break their butt or hurt themselves. But I was like, I'm glad it wasn't me type of thing. Maybe that's it. I'm glad it wasn't me. I'm glad it wasn't me in that situation. I'm glad it wasn't me going through that. Ooh. That's a cool shot. I always wonder how they got that, because the barrel goes by and like goes right by Roy Scheider's head. Of course, goodbye to his glasses. But this, again, such a good shot to just go right by him. Like, and this fucking thing's dragging them all around to show the power of this thing. Again, we don't exactly see the shark, but we can already tell just how fucking powerful it is. And then nice selection of shots. Again, not just a standard shot. It's funny, you see how the water's bobbing and the camera still moves less than what the fuck they do nowadays. Like here, yes, the water's bobbing. If you do a film, now the fucking camera's bobbing like this, even if it's just two people talking in a fucking warehouse or in a fucking bathroom or bedroom, the camera's like this. Because you don't know a damn tripod. Here, even though it's bouncing the water, it still bounces less than a lot of fucking films nowadays. Well, he proved Quentin wrong. Right about now. Proved him wrong. I know for Jaws 3 there was talks of doing a parody, Jaws 3 People Zero, and they wanted like Joe Dante to direct it, but Joe Dante said no, which is understandable. He already did his type, that was Piranha. And the producers or the studio guys said, you know what, we're not sure about doing it. I think in retrospect I think if they went back now they would have tried that instead of Jaws 3 and 4. But like I said, I like Jaws 3, and who knows, the parody could have been as bad as National Lampoon's Class Reunion or Saturday the 14th. There were some fun parodies. Airplane, Airplane 2. I like Student Bodies. I'm talking about 80s. Because, of course, in the 90s, you got Hot Shots, and especially Hot Shots Part 2, and National Lampoon's Loaded Weapon 1. Like, those are two of my favorites. Hot Shots Part 2 and Loaded Weapon 1. Which, that's another film not on Blu-ray. Loaded Weapon 1. Ridiculous. You look at the cast in that. Emilio Estevez, Samuel Jackson, Bruce Willis, William Shatner, Charlie Sheen, Corey Feldman, Phil Hartman, Whoopi Goldberg, Tim Curry, Scotty from Star Trek, James Doohan. It's got like everybody in that movie, man. But anyway, I don't know if a parody of this film would have worked. So now in this case, I think he knows he's a bit in over his head. And he's trying to get back to land. Well, it's one of two things. Either he's trying to get back to land as soon as possible, because he doesn't want to be out here in the water and sink. Or he's trying to maybe think he could tire this big fat motherfucker out. The way I looked at it is he wants to get back to the shore as soon as possible because he doesn't want to be out there thinking about to Indianapolis. Oh, you get a little explosion. Boom. Again, that sucker's blame. Like, they couldn't outrun him. Damn thing disappeared already. The Archer's pretty much dead. Because of Quinn's stupidity, he fucked up the radio. Which was really stupid of him. I mean, I'm still not gung-ho on why he broke the radio. I mean, I could assume just arrogance. Of course, it was a life preserver. I'll never put on a life preserver again. You know what? If you have not broken the radio, but that's why he gives it to them and not to him. For himself. Now he doesn't know what to do, so he goes to Hooper. So, okay, man, this got me beat. Let's see what this new guy's got. I like that transition too. I mean, because when Dreyfuss gets pissed, it goes to Roy Scheider, and it looks like he's staring at him down. But then you see the cage come up, and you realize, oh shit, it's a different scene. So it kind of works as both. It works as Roy Scheider reacting to what Dreyfuss is saying, and even look in that direction. But then also, oh shit, it's a scene transition. So we're actually getting the cage ready. So I thought that was actually pretty neat for them to do. Because those tanks, we see there's two of them. One he's got, and one is going to be used for, again, make sure the audience remember that tank, because it's going to be an important usage later. God, I would never want to get into a damn shark tank. Or anywhere near sharks. Never, never, never. I always remember there's a show that I do like. They did get a DVD release, but it got cluttered so much, and not all of it got released anyway. I wish they would come up with just one complete box set of the whole show. Dirty Jobs with Mike Rowe. I'm a big fan of Dirty Jobs with Mike Rowe. And luckily enough, I was able to find them and have them on downloaded. But again, some of them might be on YouTube. I can't remember. But anyway, there was a job where it was, because it's Discovery Channel, they would do Shark Week. So it was shark suit tester, where literally you had to wear this suit and you had to let sharks bite you, and it'd be this suit made of this kind of mesh. You know how films, back to the day, you have knights and they wear the chain linked armor. That's kind of what it is. You wear this chain linked armor, And you have to get sharks to bite you to make sure, it works. Obviously, if it doesn't, you'll know. And thankfully, it did work. But you have to be make sure each one is done accordingly, because if one teeth gets in between, it's going to be a big old hole in you, a big old puncher. But I think, yeah, I know some of this is real shark footage that they got. I think they had some shots. There's like a little person in the cage, and then at times they put like a doll in the cage as well. Well, obviously this is full grown. There's a shark. Like that's a real shark. You can tell by the way it moves. There's him realizing the damn thing dropped and there's no way he can get it. So now it's like, fuck, that's where it's at. Now it's like, shit, what do I do now? Like some of this is, of course, the practical effect. Some of this, I can't remember if it was a little person or sometimes they put like a doll or like a mannequin in there. Can't remember the details. Like the shark is still working and other stuff is definitely worth a look. So I can't remember in the book his character Mike got killed off. Now I think what happened here was the shark actually got caught on the cage and he could not get out, and that's why you have this kind of rampage going on with the shark here. Is that I think there were cables, wire, and the shark got here. I think he got caught, and that's why it looks like he's attacked in the cage, but he's actually just caught and he's trying to get the fuck out of the damn wire and cables, which ultimately did. Oh shit. And Hooper's like, fuck this, I'm gonna stay right here at the bottom of the ocean and you guys figure it out. Of course, by this point, they don't find the cage is empty, and of course, assume, understandably, that Richard Dreyfuss is dead. It's a massive damn shark. And if you're wondering any background noise, there's stuff going on outside. People like watering their plants and stuff. It's so dry here. It's the dry heat. There's Quint. Doing the best he can. Get the shit out. Up there you go. I think there's a little bit bloodier where he spit a lot more blood. He splits a little blood coming up here. There you go. I think that was a bit longer though. But he didn't. The Sharks didn't get him in Indianapolis, but they got him here. It's like you should not have fucked up the radio and stuff, but still feel bad. And still feel bad that he died. Up here comes the shark. Wanted more. Now the guy that hated the water, the guy who's so out of place, he's the only guy left. Or he could eat it, I suppose, as Quint said before. And you just feel for this character. It's like he he just slapped by this widow with this lady, and it's not his fault. He hates the water. He's a bit in over his head. You know, the two people they're supposed to know more are one he knows is dead and one he thinks is dead. He's by himself. He's a guy you could relate to because, you know, he's doing the best he can. He's in a shit situation. And this right here, just the sinking of the ship. He's alone in the middle of the ocean. There's land is like so far away in the back there, and these nice wide shots to show just how massive the shark is. I like the shark is like scarred up and bloody in the front. Nice detail having the blood come through on the top of that shark. Yeah, I like that the front of the shark is like bruised up and bloodied up, and I like that. It gives a little bit more character to it. Show me the money. I mean, show me the tank. Thank God he didn't just swallow that whole and just chewing on it. Bullseye. Smile, you son of a bitch. And you feel like Roy Scheider. Yeah! You're happy. You're ecstatic. I heard like if you listen closely, sort of the death knell of this is the one used in Duel, but what that would sound like if it was underwater. Like in Duel, when the truck goes off the cliff at the end of Duel, you almost hear this like almost death knell, this death scream. So there's a little bit, from what I understand, used in that, but how would it sound underwater? That's what I've heard. I mean, it's all now you come up. I do like this reaction from Scheider where he goes over and he's like, thank God. I'm glad they didn't kill off Richard Dreyfuss' character. Really glad. No, he didn't make it. Nice little reaction from Dreyfuss. I mean, what more can be said? And going off. Take the tides with us. Keep kicking. I used to hate the water. I can't imagine why. There you go. I love the way it ends. This calm, soothing, great music by John Williams. It's just on the beach. If you watch closely, I think you see them getting closer and closer to beach, the showcase they made it. Because, yeah, you see them right there right under Jim Fargo's name. You see the two of them there. Yeah, just above Tom Joyner, right on Manfred Zendar's name. You see them getting closer and closer to the beach and their success. And the credits are very short. It's not like nowadays where there's like 10 minutes of credits. very short credits. So yeah, it was about 30 seconds more for the movie. Still a classic. Absolute classic. Holds up very well. One of my all-time favorite movies. One of my favorite films of the 70s. What more could be said? Jaws is an absolute classic. Holds up to this day. And one of my favorite Spielberg films. Thanks for watching. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.